Good morning, everybody. We're reading through 2 Samuel 11 and 12 and 1 Chronicles chapter 20. And it's a familiar story to all of us, and our heart aches over it as we read it. And can you imagine your sin being on display for all eternity, as it was recorded in the Word in Scriptures? So, yeah. And David didn't do what he was supposed to do. He wasn't where he was supposed to be. He stayed home, fell into temptation. It led to rape, it led to murder, and it led to the death of a baby. But I think there's a reason why David stayed home. It's puzzling because we're told it was the season where the kings go to war, and David sent off his general, but he himself stayed home. And people scratch their head and wonder why. When we study David, when we look at Kings and Chronicles and Samuel and all the places where we read the story of David, we see his public face. We see his failures, we see his successes, but we see a victorious king. We see a confident man. We see somebody who had a lot of blood on his hands. It's the whole reason why he couldn't build the temple. A lot of people died at the death of David, and it's disturbing, when you see him measure out a nation in thirds, and he kills 2/3 and lets the third live. It's disturbing. It should be disturbing for us. It was a terrible time. That's a public face of David. And then you spend time reading the Psalms, his Psalms, what he wrote, and we see his heart exposed. And David had no desire for violence. And he refers to being surrounded by violent men. And he was surrounded by people of great ambition, people who'd do anything for him and did a lot of things for him that he never asked them to do. There were a lot of people that were killed in David's name where David did not ask for it and did not want it. And we see how he responds when he's given news of those who were in anointed positions being killed in his name. And it was David turned around and he put those people to death, partly in in the hopes of nobody else would do it. It didn't stop people. And so we see David just had this sensitive heart, a heart where he just wanted to worship the Lord. He just wanted to call out. He said that he would love to be just a doorkeeper, a very important position, a position of a guard and a protector. But still, he would like, that's the position that he would love to have, instead of being a king with this heavy weight on him. But David was faithful to his calling. He knew what he was called to, and he was faithful to it, and he knew he was anointed in it. And he knew that he was going to meet success, and he saw success all around him as the Lord's favor rested on him, and he saw the Lord fighting on his behalf. So he knew, but it doesn't mean that this sat easy on him. And so I think the reason that David stayed home in the season of war was that he had just lost his heart for it. He was just in a position where he would not step into what he was called to do because he just didn't have a heart for it. And there are some times when we have to walk through valleys, and we have to walk through places that we have to do it out of complete obedience. It's not because we desire to. It's not because it gives us a zest of life. It might be a secondary thing. Our heart might be filled with so many other things, but this is the thing that we've been told to do, and we need to walk in it. The thing is that the Lord will give us the strength. He will give us the strength. But we can't take ourselves out of that position. We can't take ourselves out of that place. We have to remain in the place that he called us to. and we will find that we are given the strength, we are given the fortitude, and we'll even find joy in that thing, because the joy of the Lord is our strength. It's the relationship we have with Him that is our strength. And David had gotten so bad that even when Nathan the prophet showed up, David was trying to hide this whole thing. He thought he could hide this. He knew better, but he really thought he could hide this. Or maybe the Lord would turn a blind eye to it. And when he's called out, David very quickly turns around and says, I have sinned. He didn't try to push it off on somebody else. There were no excuses. He just said, I have sinned. And I really believe that sin started because David chose not to walk in obedience in his calling and his place of being. So for me, it's just a warning. No matter how you feel when you get up in the morning, you make sure that you are walking in the place the Lord told you to walk and doing what He told you to do, and you will recover. You will recover not outside of that place, but in the midst of the place. You will recover in the work that has been given to you to do because of the relationship that you have. Just make sure the relationship is strong. You guys be blessed. Be encouraged. Love you all.